basically, if this command center here at the 4 o'clock position is not scouted out by Fonger, Fonger is going to be in a lot of trouble because, man, with that double gas, he's going to be in a very strong position. Let's see if he looks like he's got the engineering bay down as well. And yeah, he's got both comsats, 3 tanks down as well as the dropship, as well as the 3 Goliaths on the opposite side. Third factory going down, actually 2 more factories going down for Fonger. And Fonger needs to do scouting. Artosis doing an excellent job of killing scouts out in the field, though. Killed an SCV that looks like it was sent out to scout. 2 more tanks pushing down to take care of this vulture out in the field, which already looks like it has 2 kills. I think one of those maybe both of those kills were 2 SCVs that were going out to scout. So now tanks actually looks like they're out on. No, they're being brought back. Another Wraith has been produced. It's just kind of scouting around. Looks like that barracks has been taken out in the meantime inside Artosis' base, so Fonger going to have to build a second barracks another barracks before he can get more of these factories down. A couple Goliaths being produced alongside the tanks. We'll see what Fonger's up to now. It looks like he's continually producing Wraiths, maybe some dropships now. He does have that control tower down. Yeah, that 4 o'clock position is up. It doesn't look like Fonger has sputtered out. Fonger's sending out SCVs to scout right now. It looks like he did manage to get an SCV to the 12 o'clock location. Scans in the meantime going off from Artosis inside Fonger's base to check out what's going on. He sees the engineering bay now going down inside Fonger's base. Fonger also, it doesn't look like he's got comsat yet. Yeah, and it looks like a dropship has been produced as opposed to a Wraith. Looks like an SCV now approaching Artosis' front door, getting hammered pretty quickly by some tanks in siege position. Let's see what Artosis still only has the 2 factories, but again with that double gas at the 4 o'clock position, it's very dangerous. Fonger, it looks like he might have spotted that out. He's starting to move. He's got, what is this? It looks like 2 tanks, 2 Goliaths, and an SCV, and 1 tank trailing now pushing in. But there's already 2 tanks and a turret that's been basically at that 4 o'clock position, as well as another turret alongside. Looks like I don't know. No, he's gonna back. No, he is headed for that location. It did look like he was headed for the 3 o'clock. Looks like Fonger is scouting that out now. He's also taking the 12 o'clock double gas, and it looks like Fonger. It looks like he was headed directly for it, but now going for the long way around, just kind of hiding in the gap. I'm not sure what he's because basically there is no access from the north here, and in the meantime, it looks like he's pulling he is pulling the end around. The question is whether he's going to go for the main. And Fonger actually expanding to 3 o'clock location as well. A little bit surprised by that. No, it looks like Fonger is actually, instead of going for that 4 o'clock location, he was just patrolling across the middle. I think he's debating whether he's going to attack the main. I don't think he's got that 4 o'clock location scouted out. He still has no comsat, so Artosis definitely in control as far as the kind of neutral spotting. Looks like Fonger upgrading weapons 1. Artosis doesn't look like he's got weapons 1 upgrading and hasn't upgraded yet. Looks like he's at the machine shop upgrading something as well, perhaps Charon booster. Fonger in the meantime has a lot of forces out in the middle of the field, but not sure what's happening. I think a comsat just went off, and I'm pretty sure that 3 o'clock location was just scouted out by Artosis. He has 2 dropships now at the 4 o'clock location. I think those are mostly for defensive purposes. We'll see. Fonger in the meantime, yeah, has a large, it looks like about 5 tanks, about 8 Goliaths, 6, 7 tanks, 8 Goliaths, kind of hanging out in the middle of the field here. I think that's mostly to, I guess, just defend across the middle of the map. Looks like an SCV still managed to scoot through. A Wraith also being used to scout. So Artosis actually doing a very, and now Fonger has his 12 o'clock double gas up. He doesn't have both gases. He's transferred all of his SCVs there. Artosis only has the single gas, however, producing at the 4 o'clock location. That's good for Fonger, at least. He's only facing 3 gas instead of 4. Artosis now upgrading weapons, getting more supply depots down. Looks like he's continuing with the upgrades on the machine shop, so I assume he's just going to maybe try to do some backside drop with some vultures. We'll see. I'm not sure. Opposite side, yeah, now Fonger just has a really large force of Goliaths and tanks still wandering across the middle of the map. Has his barracks floating back out. He might be going for a press. Also putting down some turrets along the basically the outside of his main. Not a lot of defense. Basically, I think he has to go on the attack here, because if he doesn't go on the attack, I feel like Artosis could do some drops fairly easily across the map, because he does know that these bases exist. He's been comsatting pretty regularly here. Looks like Fonger's finally got his comsat up. Fonger, in the meantime, has a dropship of his own being produced across the map. But I'm trying to check where Artosis' dropships are located. He's continually pumping the dropships out. He's got 3 dropships just kind of hanging out the 6 o'clock location. Looks like a Wraith is now going to 3 o'clock location just to kind of scout things out. Yeah, just to kind of check what's going on out there. Just making sure that there's no backside drop or building or anything like that. He might be also hunting for that barracks of Artosis to do a little bit of, I don't know, hit there. And it looks like now Fonger has 3 dropships that he's loaded up with some troops. SCV out in the field for Artosis has scattered that out, so he's going to hold up momentarily. And the question is where is he going to go? He does have access to both bases here. Looks like he's going to set up right outside Artosis' base. Going to be able to kill an engineering bay that Artosis very cleverly put kind of in the midfield here. No, he's going to drop inside Artosis' main, basically from the north location. And going to drop over. Looks like a pretty solid position for Artosis, though. A lot of Goliaths in the background. He's going to try to do kind of a double siege, sieging some tanks along the outside to try to take things out. So basically, all the troops inside. And man, it's not going to be very successful if those dropships are taken out, and they are in fact taken out. Looks like that secondary force of Artosis that was loaded in those dropships came back for defense. So it looks like this isn't going to be very successful. The engineering bay is now down. It's not going to hurt Artosis too much, though. Artosis, in the meantime, looks like he's got about 5 factories up, putting on the 6th and the 7th as we speak, and now is pushing up for a counterattack. First of all, he's taking out the siege tanks that are just kind of left outside his base. And I guess that Fonger was waiting for that level 1 weapons upgrade. Artosis also has the level 1 weapons upgrade now. And a lot of tanks just chilling outside Artosis' base. Fonger's bringing up a secondary attack force, but he doesn't have any dropships, so he's going to have to go in, on the ground. That Wraith's still patrolling for Fonger. I guess just patrolling for any dropships that are coming in. He doesn't have to worry about his manies as much because there are. And wow, looks like Artosis' tanks caught out of position there. A lot of them being killed out of siege position, but Fonger didn't manage to siege his tanks as well, trying to push in manually. Did manage to get a couple tanks, now pulling back. But so Artosis is going to hold that ground. So I think Fonger ended up losing that match actually because he didn't counter siege his tanks. Meantime, more SCVs starting to scout in the field, actually looks like for Artosis. So Fonger actually in a very good economic position. He has a 3 o'clock position, he has a 12 o'clock position, he has his main, he has his secondary. No one's taken the 9 o'clock yet. But Artosis, he does have the 4 o'clock position. He does have the advantage as far as dropships go. And honestly, we'll see. Fonger is continuing to produce forces out on the ground. But still, and it looks like Artosis, is now scouting. He managed to slip an SCV in to that 12 o'clock location. We'll see what he does with it. Some supply depots going down there. So even without the ComSat, it looks like Artosis does basically have all these bases scouted out, and immediately looks like Fonger's responding by trying to put down some turrets, at least at the 3 o'clock location, as well as a factory in the 3 o'clock location. And now Artosis is headed out. Looks with about 6 tanks and Goliath and an SCV. Unfortunately, Fonger has a much larger force out on the ground at the moment. Even though let me try to get a factory count. He's got 5, 6, 7 factories as well. Let me try to check the background here. Still 8 factories up for Artosis in the meantime, and he's still continuing. It doesn't look like he's continued the SCVs. And that tank group being kind of caught in the middle there, that Wraith spotting it out, killing it. But Artosis' forces are going to be cleaned up. The Goliaths managed to get underneath the siege there. So tanks now taken out in the meantime. A big group, but Artosis in the meantime using this distractionary time to drop on the 3 o'clock location. And going to build a comm center inside the base before Fonger's is even down, wiping everything out there rather rapidly. And that's the advantage of mobility right there. So, and I'm trying to, the 4 dropships now back at his 4 o'clock location. Fonger trying to push up. He wants to looks like he's getting, I think he's responding a little bit harshly here. He's got 5 tanks and 5 Goliaths, which I don't think is enough to really do anything with, and he's starting to press out. I think he wants to try to push into this 4 o'clock location after that hit, wants to respond quickly, but honestly, he's not in that bad an economic position, but instead going to push in. He's going to run into some siege tanks that are really well positioned by Artosis. Now he's holding up, but he's got a couple tanks and Goliaths kind of just hung out in the field, and really, I think he needs to worry about Artosis pulling a reach round to the 12 o'clock location. The tanks are in fact, as well as the Goliath, starting to head to the 12 o'clock location now. And the reinforcements from Fonger are just headed down to the south. Artosis is just going to whip them around and immediately take them to the 12 o'clock location. And Artosis is just going to go in the ground. He doesn't even have to worry about dropships there. And once again, Fonger caught out of position. He's outside of Artosis' main. And and now realizing, pulling his forces back to the 12 o'clock location, but it's just going to be too late. Tanks sieging up there, and they are up the ramp. So it's going to be very hard for Fonger without dropships to come back and try to defend this location. So just getting, and I think just being a little bit greedy there, wanted to get a counterattack. Fonger did lift off that command center. Unfortunately, his SCVs are caught out in the field, and now the counterattack forces look like Fonger did have some dropships. Looks like 3 dropships load up with some forces. He is going to be able to attack a little bit here, and going to use those dropships with the dropped forces to kind of sneak through. Looks like they unfortunately went with the dropships a little too fast, so going to lose some unnecessary forces as they're kind of milling up the ramp. Looks like Artosis, managed to stop production here. He's still holding here with 3 tanks and 3 Goliaths, and Fonger going to back off here. Actually, let's see. It looks like he's going to go back to the 3 o'clock location, which is currently undefended for Artosis, and Artosis going for a backside drop. He's got about looks like 5 dropships, and he's kind of scanning out in the way. Unfortunately, it looks like he's almost went right over some of Fonger's forces, but he's just going to try to punch through this turret line, and is going to be able to punch through this turret line right into Fonger's main here in the meantime. Fonger's troops completely out of position. He was again trying to rally to Artosis' front, and SCV's coming off the line at the main. Artosis in a very commanding position now. Four tanks just chilling here. SCVs have managed to get underneath. Two Goliaths still there, picking some of the SCVs off, but still, even though that drop wasn't horribly successful, still managed to get a lot of SCVs with it, do a lot of damage here, and he's in the meantime taking control of the map. He's got the 12 o'clock location. He has a 3 o'clock location. Still mining at the 4 o'clock. His economy hasn't been touched. Has brought those dropships back. He has a couple tanks on the perimeter now, just shelling out. Looks like a factory and some of the turrets as well. Fonger trying to pull a reach around to take care of those tanks. And Fonger, I don't see where his dropships went. Let me try to get a lock on them. Looks like he's going to, in the meantime, he's going to lose his command center at the 12 o'clock location. Looks like Artosis moved those Goliaths up, and he's going to be able to take that command center out. Doesn't look like Fonger realizes it. And the question is, does Fonger care? He's got to worry about his economy at this point. His main is completely dry. His secondary is all he's mining out of here. Now pushing up with what he has left, so he's in deep economic trouble here. And it's just 4 siege tanks and 2 Goliaths, and it looks like I'm not sure if he's behind on upgrade. Yeah, he is behind on upgrades. He's got level 2. He has only level 1 weapons, whereas Artosis has level 2 weapons, and Artosis has beaten Fonger. Fonger calls GG. So game 1 goes to Media. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for listening.